Those who have lost and successfully kept the weight off usually made a lot of beginner mistakes early on in their journey, and unfortunately those mistakes are really common and can completely derail your progress. So today I'm sharing the 10 common mistakes that beginners make in the beginning of their weight loss journey so that you can completely avoid those and start seeing progress faster. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Element. More on them in a bit. Okay, the first really huge, very common mistake is just eat less. Now, the reason why this is the biggest, most common mistake is because it does work initially. But as those who have successfully lost the weight and kept it off long term, they know that this does not work for the long term. There's a reason why about 95% of diets fail, and it's because most of them rely heavily on just eating less. Eating less generally means also eating less protein, and protein is needed to help keep us satisfied, help prevent hunger, but it also helps to prevent muscle loss while we lose weight, which means it helps to keep our metabolism healthy and strong. So if you're just eating less, you're not only more hungry because you're often eating less protein as well, but your metabolism is even slower. So in the beginning, as the body first starts losing muscle, you start losing weight, but then you plateau, and then it's really easy to gain that weight back. Okay, the second mistake is that your food must be boring, meaning like no sauces or flavor. I hear this from clients all the time saying like, I really want to be able to lose weight, but I just love food too much. I love flavor, I love variety, which I totally agree. In fact, making sure that you do have variety with your foods is one of the best ways to make sure that you don't reverse your progress. And that's because of something called food fatigue. Often when people just do what they typically do when they're trying to lose weight, which is like eat broccoli and salmon or like broccoli and chicken, and that's it, they get very bored of what they're eating, which makes it a lot easier to give into other foods that don't serve their goals. This can cause more of that like binge-like behavior. But you can add a ton of flavor to any of your meals without it sacrificing your goals. In fact, I actually have 10 free recipes. If you want to download those, I'll have it linked down in the description below, or you can find it at autumnlnutrition.com/subscribe. Okay, the third mistake is thinking that weight loss is all about mindset. And there actually is an element to this. So it's not that this is necessarily entirely wrong, but it's not all about it, because you obviously need to make some type of change in order to see the results you want. And there is going to be an element of discipline to this, because change can be hard at first, but you don't have to white knuckle it. Again, it's not just about eating less and feeling hungry or eating boring food. In fact, you can eat really delicious food that makes you feel satisfied and actually tastes great while also supporting your goals. This is exactly what I did during my 20-pound postpartum weight loss journey. I ate delicious food that made me feel satisfied while also burning fat as fuel. If you want to check out exactly what I did, the step-by-step details to lose that weight, you can find it with this video right here. Okay, the fourth mistake is a lot of cardio. Again, this can work in the short term for the same reason why just eating less can work in the short term, but for the same reason why just eating less doesn't work for the long term is why a lot of cardio doesn't work for the long term. Running actually isn't a great type of exercise for keeping muscle mass. In fact, it can actually pare down muscle, and the body also becomes more efficient when we run a lot, which might sound like a good thing, but what this means is that you burn less energy when you're doing more running than when you first started. So if in the beginning you burned like 100 calories with 1 mile, now you could be burning only like 60 calories with 1 mile. A much better choice for exercise is focusing on strength training, which does help to increase muscle mass a bit, or at least keep muscle mass while you're losing weight, which helps to keep the metabolism healthy and strong in the process. And you don't need to do it nearly as often as you need to run in order to see the results. Usually about 2 to 4 times per week is all you really need for strength training when done properly. But regardless of what type of exercise you're doing, it's really important that you stay hydrated and getting enough electrolytes, like with today's sponsor, Element. Element is an amazing electrolyte company that was specifically created with intermittent fasting, low carb eating, whole food eating, and athletes in mind. It actually contains the sodium, magnesium, and potassium to help balance out lost electrolyte levels, all without having any sugar. I've been using Element for over 3 years now. I love it. I love the way it tastes. I love the way that it makes me feel. On the rare occasion that I forget to take Element, I feel so much more brain foggy and lower energy, specifically around 3 p.m. because that hydration is so important for sending messages from the brain to the rest of the body for literally every single function. So nowadays I take anywhere between 1 to 2 elements per day. My absolute favorite is the grapefruit salt, but they also have other delicious flavors like the citrus, the orange, and raspberry salt. They also have different chocolate flavors that you can mix with hot water, and it makes like this hot chocolatey deliciousness. It's so good. And right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serve packets free with any Element order. It's a really great way to test out all 8 flavors, so you can get yours at drinkelement.com/autumn. This is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. The link is also in the description down below. Okay, the fifth mistake that a lot of beginners make, but those who have successfully lost weight know not to do, is cut out all the fat. Fat is very important for helping us to feel satisfied, but in addition to that, it's also really, really important for fat-soluble vitamins. So specifically like vitamins A, D, E, and K. People often cut it out because per gram fat is going to be higher in calories, but this is very, very short-sighted. Again, it could work initially because you're simply just cutting back on the amount you're eating, but you're missing out on the satiety, that sensation of feeling full and satisfied, which prevents cravings, and all of those really important nutrients for long-term health. Because what is the point of losing weight, at least for the short term, and then regaining it back, if in the process you're not feeling your best and you're nutrient poor? In fact, some really great sources of fat to include into the diet are like avocado, which is really rich in fiber and fat to help keep you satisfied. Fish oil is another really great one, specifically cod liver oil, which is extremely nutrient dense in vitamins A and D. But speaking of supplements, the sixth mistake that beginners often make is thinking that supplements really matter for success. With my clients, I always get a lot of specific questions about what type of supplements they should be taking in order to maximize their results. And supplements definitely have their place. Like I mentioned, fish oil or cod liver oil is a great tool to help up your vitamin A and D. But people who have sustained their weight loss progress over the years knows that it's not about supplements. That might help with like the 5% of your results, but it's not going to get you 95% of the results that you're looking for. Ultimately, the really big movers, the ones that will help you to really make a lot of progress with your goals, is going to be making sure that you're getting enough high quality sources of protein, fat, and fiber while also moving properly with exercises like strength training. Once you have those down, then you can start to add on some other things like supplements. Okay, the seventh mistake that beginners believe is that you need to track everything. Now, some people can benefit from tracking initially just to get an idea of what it is that's in their food. I'm still not a huge fan of this approach because it's not really realistic for everyday life, but I've also found that most people who start tracking tend to focus on the wrong things, which is specifically just looking at calories, which leads us back to that first mistake of just eating less. When you start tracking everything, it's really easy to see like, oh, this avocado has this amount of calories. If I just remove that, then I can get this much less calories for the day, which means that it's easy to not factor in the importance of satiety and preventing cravings and making sure that you can sustain that progress for the long term, not to mention all the important nutrients as well. Okay, the eighth mindset that is a big mistake that beginners make is that they need to feel hungry. It's common to think that if you're feeling hungry, that means you're losing weight. And if you're feeling full, then it means that you're not losing weight. But you can actually be gaining weight while feeling hungry and losing weight while feeling full. It comes down to how different foods impact our satiety hormones as well as blood sugar. For example, a big bowl of pasta will make you feel full initially, but you're going to feel pretty hungry very quickly after the meal. You're usually not going to feel full for more than an hour or two after eating something more refined like pasta. But that pasta can be extremely dense in carbohydrates, actually have a lot of energy within it, and you'll feel hungry shortly after. That's because it can cause a big spike and fall in our blood sugar levels. Or on the flip side, eating something like 3 eggs and a half an avocado can make you feel very full and satisfied for like 4 to 5 hours because it does such a good job at raising our satiety hormones and stabilizing blood sugar levels. So those who have successfully lost and maintained that weight loss know that there are certain foods that help to make them feel full and satisfied and those that don't. And optimizing for those that help to boost satiety while also helping with their goals are the ones that you really want to focus on. Okay, the ninth mistake that beginners often make is eating a lot of veggies. They assume this because they think it's nutrient dense and low calorie. But ironically, veggies are not even the most nutrient dense foods. There's a recent study that analyzed all different foods and found that the most nutrient dense foods by far were things like lamb and beef and eggs and whole milk. There was one vegetable on the top 11 list and it was leafy greens, but other than that, it was all animal-based products. And ironically, those are also the foods that are richest in high quality sources of protein to help make you feel full and satisfied. So in terms of nutrient density, it's not the most nutrient dense food, but it doesn't mean that they don't have their place. They can be a great source of fiber. They also help to add variety to a meal, and they do have some micronutrients within veggies. But the problem is when people eat a lot of it while sacrificing eating enough protein. Because if you just eat a lot of veggies, you'll feel full for a little bit, but you won't get the protein to help boost satiety and prevent hunger for the long term. So instead, you want to balance out the protein with eating veggies, but not eat so many veggies that you can't eat enough protein. Okay, the 10th mistake that beginners make is just drinking a lot of water whenever you feel hungry. Now, obviously, I'm not against drinking water. I have my big Stanley right here. But this goes back to the idea of just trying to eat less. So a lot of people will try and fill their belly or fill their stomach with the volume of just water to trick their brain into thinking that they're full. So you can see the mistake here. You're not getting enough protein. You're not getting the satiety cues. You're going to feel hungry shortly after. You're also not getting the nutrients your body needs. So yes, make sure you're drinking water, but don't drink water to replace food. Just make sure you're eating enough of the right types of food and you're going to feel so much better in the process anyway. In fact, if you want to check out the really simple tips that will get you 95% of the results you want, make sure that you check out this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love the science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.